and we just need the Lord. So, Margaret, say a few words.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. And thank you to the artists who are participating, to the veteranos who come out, people like Wayne Healy, David Mateo, John Valadez, Paula Lopez, and Rita Corazon. I can't name everybody that's here, but I want to tell you that the best thing about doing this out here in Pomona is that it gives us fresh blood. It brings in a new community, a part of the Chicano community, and it makes it accessible. They throw down the gauntlet. They bring in something different. And they say, here I am. And it's so important. It's not just the skill level. It's the content. It's the ability for us to be so inclusive, to understand our culture beyond it just being Mexican-American, but we've always been here. And this is Aztlan, this is where we're at. And the women artists who are here, there are so many more women artists than are usually here. And it is, I want to thank you for your generosity in being here and in participating. Because we need more women and we need a lot more young women to tell us what their life is about, what their culture is about. Culture is your art. It is how we define who we are. Whether you're talking about food, or you're talking about images, or you're talking about music. The gross national product coming out of this community and the rest of California is culture. If you're not investing in it, if your politicians aren't supporting it, then you know what? They're not supporting you. And we need to see it in our schools. We need to make sure that that 1% of her art that's being spent on artists, that the 80% of production isn't being outsourced to China and Belgium. That the production happens here in our community so that money circulates here, where we need it. Not in Belgium, not in China. We need to produce it here, and we need to see our artists go to work. That is what I advocate for, and I know that the rest of you would benefit from it, but also you benefit from your own work, which is what I want, and I would like to see. I am honored, and I am humbled, very moved by the generosity of Frank, Margaret Asheli, Chris Tooby, and all the other artists that have come out to support me. Thank you.
All right, Chris, this is our president for life.
Sorry for the sauna. We don't have the facilities to have air conditioning. We are a grassroots operation. We've been here for 30 years. We put this particular program on for 13 years. And we were at one point gallery, but that was 1996. We became Center for the Arts. And we are not an art store. We are a clearinghouse for cultural events and cultural exchange. And this is one of the premier events. We're really happy to have Margaret spearhead this with Frank Garcia as the curator for life. And that's everybody out here, even with the sun. So thanks again, Margaret. Enjoy this show.
We have a collaboration with Dr. Corazon and Sid. I'm not to say a few words. This year, the collaboration is with right.
Actually, who's done a lot of the work here representing the Latino Roundtable is my wife, Rose Calderon. I'd like her to come up and just say a few words. Come on, Rose. But I do want to say one thing that's really important. David Diaz is here. Where's David? David Diaz? David? David? Victor? Right behind you. David.
Profe!
David Diaz is in the back, and we've been using a book that David wrote called Urbanism. And in that book, David describes that way back, like in Pomona, barrios were vilified, they wanted to destroy them. They said that they had become colonies, like in Latin America, that the houses needed to be torn down. And a movement developed nationally to take back the parks. It was, the barrio saw it as taking back the land. And part of that became a mural movement. And you'll find that in all these parks, like in Salazar, we have a park here, Cesar Chavez Park, that has the life of Cesar Chavez from the time he was born to the time he died. David Diaz's book documents that movement, and you see the results of that movement here with the meaning of Aztlan, that it is a struggle for self-determination, a struggle to make sure that the culture is not destroyed, and that the movement that brings people together to create culture and the significance of culture survives. And so I want to thank all of you for coming today, and invite people to continue to come. There are a lot of events on the 13th and 14th. Teatro Urbano is presenting their theater presentation here. We urge you to let the community know. And we urge you to keep telling people to come and appreciate what is now a historical means of bringing to center stage those individuals who in our history have been left out, or those communities who have been excluded. And here's Rosa.
I have had the pleasure to meet Margaret Garcia, and thank you for creating this event and getting all these artists here. Margaret, who is the director of this gallery, has opened her doors to Latino Roundtable, and asking her to help us collaborate is a gift, because she understands that Mona and this gallery, she wants it to be for the people here, and that means not just the elite, the artists, not the artists, people who can afford some of these art pieces, or just collectors, but the people who are the grassroots here. There's artists in the grassroots, and there's different types of art, and Margaret has opened this up for us, so we're so happy to be able to work with her. We have a committee from Latino Roundtable, and I want everybody who's on the committee who has been working on this event and trying to be a part of this gallery to please raise up your hand. I want you to be acknowledged. These are the community people who are going to see their faces, and you'll see them here.
All right, thank you. So now we have our Mayor Elliot Rothman, our City Council. He'll identify our council members, and he's here to give a presentation to Senator Margaret Garcia.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the City of Pomona, it's a pleasure to be here to celebrate Aztlan. I don't know how many years we've been doing it, but I hope this is our 13th year. Thank you, Council Member. And it's always been one of the premier art exhibitions in the City of Pomona, and I'm glad that every year that they put it on. I did get something from Chris Tooby about the air conditioning, and I think I noticed one of the paintings is melting, so I'm going to be brief in my comments. I wanted to introduce my colleagues that are here today from the Pomona Unified School District, Dr. Roberta Perlman, Councilmember Christina Carrizosa, to my left, Lorraine Canales from the Cultural Arts Commission, and Councilmember Deborah Martin. I think, did you have a couple words yet? No?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Margaret, Chris Tooby, Frank Garcia, Latino Roundtable, and everybody else that has been part of this show. It is absolutely beautiful. I've never missed one of these shows in 13 years. I used to have my photography studio next door in 1996. So when I opened up my art studio, the Dawes Center for the Arts came in 6 months later. So we've been neighbors for many years. And I want to say that the art saves lives. The art saves lives. As a cultural arts commissioner for 9 years for the city of Pomona, my mission was to collaborate with all the youth in the high schools to make sure that they brought art to the downtown, to the parks, through murals. So I want to thank all the Pomona Unified School District folks that has helped these youths for many, many years give the schools a run of applause, because if it wasn't up for them, we wouldn't have such great artists. With that, thank you. With that said, I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, Christina Carasosa, and wish everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I want to be very brief because it's kind of working. Thank you for the invitation to be here for me. What I want to say is that God did not grant me any of those talents that so many people have: painting, singing, dancing. He gave me permission to do something. A few years ago, I was able to get the permission of the Pomona City Council and the funding to paint some murals in South Pomona. So if you have not seen those murals, I invite you to come and see it. 2 of them are on Philadelphia Street, between town and Gale. Right across Philadelphia Elementary School, there's a large one that is a beautiful representation, very significant of the 9/11 experience. Across from it at the park, there's another one that is called the Spirit of the Park that depicts the activities that happen in that park. And then if you ask permission to go into Philadelphia School, you're going to find 2 more beautiful murals. One represents the aspiration of a child growing up to be the next president of the United States. And on the other side, there's a beautiful painting of 4 or 5 horses in different colors. Beautiful murals painted by Pedro Pelayo, and I don't know if Pedro Pelayo is here. But if you have some time, please go drive to Philadelphia. If you happen to be there when the school is open, ask for permission. I'm sure the principal, Mrs. Castañeda, will let you see it. And it was because of the Pomona City Council we recognize the need to have art that is representative of the community. Okay, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to recognize Margaret Garcia. Thank you for putting on such a wonderful show and coming to the beautiful city of Pomona. This is a certificate of recognition signed by myself, my colleagues, recognizing Margaret Garcia, Aztlan 2015 honoree. On behalf of the entire city of Pomona, we hereby recognize you in celebration of the 13th annual Aztlan exhibition at the Dawes Center for the Performing Arts. We are honored and commend you for your hard work and effort. On behalf of the entire city of Pomona, all 170,000 of us, thank you very much.
Open that. Oh, look at that. How beautiful is that?
I especially want to thank Jason for installing our work and making us look good. Jason, I don't know where you are, but wherever you are, you need to take a bow. And I want to thank my husband for all his work. There's a lot of others here I haven't mentioned, and I'm going to try to run a few down. George LeBron. Guerrero Cruz, Gloria Vasquez Warner, Bonnie Lambert, Estella Hyde, Kathy Garcia, Sandy Garcia, Angela Ortiz, Haley David Boteo, which I named Rita Corazon, Mary Lucille Nunez, and Kathy Milligan, Johnny Dominguez, Oscar Castillo, Richard Haro, and maybe if we're lucky, you guys will hang out a little bit later and come up to the stage and get a group shot of everybody. And Ruben Soto.
John Valadez.
John Valadez, yes.
All right, so we want you to enjoy the show. There's another gallery across the street. It's quite a large exhibition. And we're going to have a shot for the artists. And all the artists in the back, so if you want to get a shot, if you're going to join us. Thank you.